You are the master of your own life. You control what happens to you, no one else. If you are young, if you're old, and you don't know what's going to wake you up in the morning, don't worry, you'll find it. You just need to try different things, learn from different mistakes, and the passion will come. I'm a risk taker because I believe that if I don't take risks, I'll regret it. And I don't want to regret anything.
Displaced from her homeland of Sudan, this guest adopted life as a nomad, living in Egypt as a teen and growing up fast to support her mother after the passing of her dad.
But I thought women are not allowed to work in the construction sector. Yes, they're not allowed. So you need to just do it behind the scenes until we find a way to make it happen. If you want to go into the sites, you will have to wear your burqa. And I was like, oh, I love that. Sign me up.
Why did you love that?
Because it's a challenge. And if I succeed, I will be opening the door to other women to be entering the construction sector. And I wanted that. I wanted that for my own growth, but also to show my child that anything is possible.
Greetings, I'm Ashley Samuels Mackenzie.
And I'm Charles Parkinson.
And welcome to How I Became,
where we unveil the unscripted journeys of inspirational figures.
Hi, I'm Gihan Hyde, and this is How I Became the founder and CEO of CommUnique.
If you enjoy the show, could you do one thing? Subscribe. Wherever you are, just click the subscribe or follow button. That simple act can help us grow the podcast in a big way, and we need your support to do it. And if you really want to help play a part in our growth, rate us on Spotify or leave a review on Apple Podcasts. It would mean the world. Thank you. Displaced from her homeland of Sudan, this guest adopted life as a nomad, living in Egypt as a teen and growing up fast to support her mother after the passing of her dad. With her studies taking a different direction, a new path was set before her, and she changed direction from what was expected of her to carry on the family business as the eldest daughter. She gained experience in the emerging sector of responsible sustainability, to then seeing that she could really make a change in this space. After all, she had the knowledge and the ability. She now sits on many boards and teaches strategies on how you can develop your ESG. Welcoming Gihan Hyde, the CEO and founder of CommUnique. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. That is such a beautiful poem. I can't wait to get my hands on that one.
So let's begin at the start of your journey. What do you remember of Sudan?
I remember sunny days, extremely hot, running in school, and I remember dying to go back home to my mom and dad because I knew that almost 3 times a week we will have guests over for dinner and they will let me stay late and I will help prepare the dinner and cook with my mom and listen to all of my dad's news of his work and what went well with businesses and what didn't. And going to sleep at nighttime and just happiness. I remember happiness. I remember I was super happy. It was the happiest of my time, of my life. That's what I remember from Sudan. I remember a house being constantly busy with relatives. Whether we like them or not, they still come. And I remember my mom getting that phone call every day. Genuinely, no joke. Probably almost every day. She'd get that call from my father saying, do we have something to eat because the cousins and aunties are coming? And then we all rush to the kitchen and cook. And that's what I remember. The unity of my family, the happiness of my family, and childhood memories where I just played with my cousin. I never had friends when I was younger. I just had family as my friends. And that's what I remember.
Whereabouts in Sudan was this? And can you paint a picture of what it was like for people?
So I was born and raised in Khartoum, which is the capital of Sudan. And for those of you who don't know where Sudan is or what's the significance of the country, at that time it was the largest country in Africa. It was considered the most richest in Africa and the most diverse when it comes to the number of languages spoken, tribes living in the country. There is normally citizens or residents of the northern part of Sudan are from Arab descendant, whereby the southern parts were African descendants. And that was done purely because Sudan had access to the Red Sea. So it was massively in the middle for all the trade routes. And this is how the cross contamination, it's not contamination. What do you call it? Cross...
Cohabitation.
Cohabitation, thank you, took place. Your question was paint a picture of where I was raised.
Yeah.
So my father was very poor when he married my mum. So my grandfather gave him a small, tiny apartment to live in at the beginning of his life. So I remember our apartment. I remember it being in the middle of a very busy, hustling and bustling area of Khartoum. I remember all of our family living around us. I remember how we had to go all 3 floors with all of the shopping. And at that time, whether you're 2 years or whether you're 5 or whether you're 20, you're still helping out with carrying these plastic heavy grocery bags. There was no time for acting like a child or being treated like you are treated like an adult from day one.
Is that part of the culture?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Has that helped you in life, do you think?
Oh, yes. I have zero sympathy for anyone or empathy for anyone, especially now with the new generation. And you see all the moms and dads just treating the children with they're stepping on stone. How do I explain it? They're being super careful of how they treat and raise the kids. So, for example, if a child falls, the mom and dad would make a big deal out of it. Oh, my lovely, it's okay, don't worry about it. My time, get up, let's go, we're late. Very different. Very different.
I notice now is when I was a kid, if I was sat on the tube or the bus and an older person comes, mum says, get up, let the person sit down. Now people are getting up to let the kids sit down.
Yeah.
I'm like, what's this about?
Yeah.
Kids got energy. They can stand up.
Exactly.
Used to go to bed later.
But to be fair, I do that now. You know why?
Why?
Because it's my way of giving back, of letting the mum or the dad sit down because I know how tired they are.
So mum and dad need to sit down, but the kids.
Oh, yeah. I don't care. When I
yeah.
see someone with a child, I'll say to the mom, would you want to sit with your kid?
Yeah.
If she says, no, it's fine, then great. If she says yes, I said, yeah, but you sit down. I'm not giving my chair for a child.
Absolutely. Too right.
I know that's how it's going to come out so bad. I am not saying children don't deserve to sit. I'm just saying.
But there's a healthy hierarchy to this. They've got energy. Them stands.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Genuinely, I you know what? I don't know what it is with this and this is how I'm trying to raise my own child. If something happens, I always say, "Get up, you'll be fine." If someone comes and they complain and say, "Oh, so and so talked to me badly," or "So and so did this to me," I say, "Walk away, don't interact." I don't make a big deal out of it. I don't dwell about it because if I do, I won't be teaching them the resilience they need. And especially with social media and with the pressure that's going on, resilience is key. And this is what's lacking in our children at this moment of time. They have zero resilience. That's why I plan, no joke, once the child is a little bit older, I plan for both of us to go and spend a week or 2 in refugee camps or in African villages so they can understand how privileged we are at the moment and not to take life for granted because it can easily flip on you without even you knowing. And it happened to me. When my father passed away, we were wealthy. We were very wealthy. But because in Islam, and according to the Islamic Sharia law, if a mom is alive and her son dies or her daughter dies, she gets 1/6 of their inheritance, of their whatever they own. And because of that, we had to lose everything.
1/6.
1/6 of the wealth.
Where does the other 5/6 go?
It goes to the boys, if there's boys in the family. So it went to my brothers. Okay. But the actual wealth was from the businesses. Because we owned several businesses in Sudan. We owned a pharmaceutical company. We owned a telecommunication company. And because no one was there to run it, and we asked the wrong people to run it, because I was only 16 at that time. So I wasn't even allowed to go back to Sudan to go and run it, even though I put my foot down and I said, I want to go. I'll go.
16 years old?
Yeah. I said, I'll go.
You'll go and
go to Sudan, because I was living in Cairo at that time.
To run the business?
To run the business.
At 16?
At 16. Had no
Wow.
problem with that. No problem with that.
Wow.
It was my uncles who put their foot down and refused for me to go. Because I was alone and they didn't want me to live with them. And this is where we lost everything. And this is we had to start from scratch. And this is where I had to help my mom to survive, because she was only 32 years old. Can you imagine how young that is? 32 years old with 4 kids. One of them was severely disabled. In Egypt. As a single woman. It was tough. It was really tough.
Do you remember the day that you found out that your father passed away?
Oh gosh, yes. Oh gosh,
What
that was the
happened?
worst day. It was the 20th of December. It was 94. And I was in school. I remember the teacher coming in and saying, Gihan, can you come for a second to the headmaster's office? I did. And my brother was there. And I said, what's going on? And she said, oh, nothing. No. Your father is just fine. But your auntie's here and she wants to take you so that you can go speak to him. I was like, but my father's in Sudan. What's going on? And I spoke to him yesterday night.
And you're in Egypt at this
And I
point.
was in Egypt. And she was like, yeah, but it's fine. Just go with your auntie. She's outside. Just go and see her. And I remember one of the other teachers let go and said, because of course Egyptians and anyone actually will be snoopy. They want to know why were these kids called all of a sudden. And another teacher was asking the teacher and saying, what's going on? Why is Gihan and Walid being asked here? And she said, oh yeah, her father passed away. And I looked.
You heard that?
I heard that. I overheard that. And I looked at her. I was like, what do you mean? You've just said to me, auntie's outside because my father wants to talk. What do you mean? No. You've got everything wrong. It was wrong. It's wrong. Oh, and then she panicked. She's like, yeah, oh gosh, yeah. No, I made a mistake. He's alive. He just go with your auntie. So anyways, I went with my auntie, and that's the funny thing. And I gave my auntie hell afterwards when I grew up much, much older. Because it was the wrong way to handle everything. That was just a cowardly way to handle it. I went to see her outside, and I said, hi auntie, what's up? And she said, no, we just need to go to Sudan. We booked the tickets already tonight. So I'm going to come with you to the house to pack some things. And he's just unwell. And he specifically asked for you to come and see her. Because I was his only girl. I was the eldest as well. And I said, okay, well, you know what? Since we're already going to Sudan, my cousin is getting married in 2 days. I'm going to pack some wedding stuff as well while we're at it, because I'm sure it's not bad, because I just spoke to him yesterday. And she said, yeah, do whatever you want. So we packed. And I said, where's Mama? I want to talk to her. She's like, oh, no, she's not. She's in the hospital. You can't talk to her. I said, okay. Went to her house. Spent all afternoon. Nothing said or done. Spent all night because it was a dawn time of travel. Nothing was said. Traveled normally. Landed. When I came out and I saw the amount of people, cousins and aunties and uncles waiting for me outside, I knew something was not good. And I just collapsed on the floor. And I said, he's dead, isn't he? And they said, yes, he's been dead since the morning. But we didn't want to tell you until you arrived there. I said, okay, so I'm not going to see him, am I? Because he's already buried then. Because in Islam, you have to bury within an hour or two.
Wow.
You don't say goodbye, you just bury.
Wow.
And then...
how did you feel then at that moment?
Oh, I was broken. I was broken. But what's interesting about me, and sometimes it's a fault, I think it is a fault actually in me, in my personality. I tend to compartmentalize. I don't know how to pronounce it properly.
Compartmentalize.
Thank you. Things. So even though I'm angry, but I at that time I said, I'll deal with it later. It's fine. I'm in denial. It's fine. It's fine. We just need to now crack on. We need to see what's happening. And that was it. I went to my house. I haven't seen so many people in this house before. And it's a 3-story house filled with people sleeping in the floor, aunts and aunties, because that's the tradition. If someone who's very important to the family passes away, they spend 3 days with you in the house. They don't go.
Wow.
So not only you, as the family, mourning the death of someone close, you also have to feed these people. I mean, how ridiculous is that? And make sure that they're fed well.
Wow.
Because you're the elite of the country. You have to feed them well. So my job was to make sure they're all fed, listen to all the gossip around the family, because apparently a lot happened in the past month that I didn't hear about. And just try to pick up my mom. My mom was not in a good place. She's still not until now, because she found him unfortunately dead in the bed. So it's not like there was a preparation or illness or anything. They were celebrating a Christmas party, because we always celebrate Christmas in Sudan, even though we're Muslims, but we still celebrate Christmas. So when I entered the house, there were still Christmas trees, Christmas decorations, because they were planning a massive Christmas party for the family on the 24th. And bless him, he went to bed and he never woke up. So that's what I remember. Not a nice memory, but it's a must to always remember. It keeps me grounded.
Yeah, and I think there's a lesson there to always say that extra thing to the ones you love, because you never know when you'll see them again or if you'll see them again.
Exactly. You know what, Ashley, you were absolutely spot on. It made me realize how important it is to tell people how you feel, what you're thinking, and what you want from them as soon as possible. Because literally, not just them might not be there. I might not be there. I might sleep tomorrow and never wake up. So I owe it to them. I owe it to me to talk to them. And this is why when I'm angry at someone, whether it's at work or whether in personal life, if I have any feelings or any feedback, I constantly give it, because I feel like I need to. Especially from a self-development point of view, yeah.
So then, how did the passing of your father change the dynamic of who you were in the family and how you were then treated and placed from that point onwards?
I was always shadowing my father in his board meetings.
From what age?
7.
Wow. And you're not just sitting there playing. Are you consciously absorbing?
In a chair. Just sit and
What do you
listen.
remember thinking at that time? You're like, why am I here? I don't want to be here. Were you engaged?
I was never engaged. I didn't understand what was going on. I was 7.
Yeah.
7, and you're talking about a company that was about to IPO. How on earth would a 7-year-old know that?
Why did he put you there?
Because I was the heir.
You're the eldest.
I was the eldest. I was the eldest.
And did he think any way about the fact that you were a woman, not a man, and in relation to that?
No. My father, out of the whole of our family, was very progressive. Extremely progressive for a Sudanese in the 70s. To the extent that he was so progressive that sometimes he alienated our family because of that. So, for example, he's the only one out of his 7 brothers who, by the way, they're all been educated abroad, all doctors, all out of the 5 married non-Sudanese, all Westerners. My father and another brother is the only ones who married the Sudanese. The way he raised us was never to judge anyone, accept people as they are, and extremely be transparent. So if I had a boyfriend, which was very rare, I would always make a point to bring him home. So my father would meet him. And you're talking about 10, 11, 12, tiny. And I will always just sit there with him, watch TV with the boyfriend, introduce him to Baba and Mama, and then they will just bugger off and do something else and leave us to it. But it was huge. You're talking about that. This is in the 80s, you guys, in Sudan. This is huge. So this is how I was raised, is just to be transparent, be who you are. Don't hide how you are. And as a result, and because I was the eldest, my father's focus was always on me, even though I have my brother who's only 2 years younger than I am. And ideally, he should be the heir. He should be the one who he should be focusing on. But for some reason, bless him, because he was the middle child, he was lost. He had the middle child syndrome. So
in these, I'm interested in these board meetings. What when you get older, maybe what's the point where you start consciously understanding what's going on and piecing it together? Is there ever a point at that? I mean, yeah, you do that until you're 16, which is still extremely young. What's going through your mind during that period?
I just want to go out with my friends.
Okay.
At that time. But to be fair, I was also very proud that I was given this opportunity, and I was Daddy's favorite. So I was very pleased with that. Even though I didn't understand half of what was going on, what I heard was very educational, because when he passed, he didn't have a will. No one knew what he owned, what he didn't own, not even my mother. It's not in the culture for a man to share anything with the woman. So my mother literally didn't know what he owned and what he didn't. I did. So they had to sit me down and say, Gihan, what does your father own? Does he owe any money to anyone? Does anyone owe him any money?
They asked you this?
Yeah.
As a 16-year-old?
As a 16-year-old.
What did you say?
I answered. I knew the answers.
Wow.
Oh, no, I knew the answers. But what is interesting is that I remember very clearly sitting there with my uncles, all 4 of them, and one of them said to me, you do realize the chair you're sitting on right now is not yours? This is inheritance. So don't get too comfortable. And I was like, yes, uncle, I know. I know you want to take the chair. Just take it. I mean, being sarcastic, of course. But it was tough. It was really tough. Until this day, I'm still having problems accepting their kids. I mean, I have 32 first cousins, by the way. Huh?
Wow.
So it's a big family. Yeah, we do like to breed. But yeah, the board meetings were very beneficial. It gave me the opportunity to understand what does it mean to take a risk. It gave me the opportunity to understand the importance of negotiation, and my father was a very good negotiator. That man can negotiate everything.
So you got to absorb that for 9 years.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. I used to babysit my 3 brothers since I was 6. As in, alone in the house since I was 6. Don't forget, there was no laws at that time. So, and my father and mother, they love life. They're young. They got married when she was 16, my mother. She got me when I was 17. She's a child herself. So, of course, they love life. So, since the age of 6, I was taking care of my brothers. I never forget one time, we went to Las Vegas. And after everyone was sleeping, my mom and dad said, Gihan, the boys are sleeping. Bye. We're going to the casino. I said, okay. And then I wanted to watch TV. I was like, okay, I'm not sleepy. My freedom. I'm gonna watch TV. I was 8 at that time, and unbeknown to me, I actually bought on the TV channel porn films without realizing they were porn. I didn't watch them. I just clicked yes, invoice the room. And then went after and then watched cartoons. And then when my father, when we checked out and he saw all the list of the porns that I bought, he went up the roof. He was like, what are you thinking? I was like, I don't even know what porn is, Daddy. I don't know what you're talking about. What are you talking about? But hey, that's the price you pay for leaving an 8-year-old with.
So you move on from here, you're in your late teens, you then go on to study.
I did, yes.
And as I shared before in my poem, you didn't go on to study the topic that you seemed to be destined to study, did you? Which would have been chemistry. You went into something else.
Yes. Gosh, I failed drastically in chemistry. I think even the professor was like, Gihan, stop. just, you know what? It's not meant for you, honey, okay?
Why were you doing it in the first place?
Because of the business. I wanted to go run the pharmaceutical company. But they said no when I was 16. So I said, okay, fine, I'm going to study and then come back. But then I needed to study something I can use for to run the business. And then this is where I studied chemistry for 3 years. Failed. Badly. But I didn't, to be fair, I didn't fail the actual chemistry. I failed what comes with the chemistry, the math, for example. And this is where I realized it's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. I just eventually said to Mom, Mom, I can't do it. It's just not going to work. And this is where she said, okay, what do you want to do? Do you want to do politics? You could be a politician. I said, absolutely not. No way will I do a politics course. So yeah, so I ended up studying marketing and integrated communications. And the world after that just opened up.
So you're on a new path now, marketing communications.
Yeah.
Where did you take that after you finished university?
So I studied marketing communication and I minored in psychology as well. But when I graduated, I didn't know what I wanted. Everyone will tell you this. Very rare someone knows exactly what they want from life. And I was one of those. I knew I wanted to go back to Sudan. But at the same time, I knew that it's not going to happen in the night time. It's not going to happen immediately because my uncles again said no to it. Because at that, when 21, I am a young female who men is going to devour when I get there. So it's very, very wrong of me to live alone as well. So I said, okay, fine. So I'm not allowed to go to Sudan. And I can't stay alone in Sudan. So what would I do? Luckily, I got approached, because again of the university, I got approached by an NGO who said, we need someone to do some admin work. I said, okay, I'll do admin. It's beneath me, but I'll do it. I'll try it. So I did. And in 2 months, I fought my case with the CEO of the NGO and I said, do I look like admin? I have so much potential. You're wasting my potential of being admin. I can do what everyone else can do, and specifically evaluation. I do like the sounds of that. And give her head too. She was an American CEO, and it was the biggest NGO in Egypt at that time. It was the USAID. And she said to me, okay, what would you want? I said, I want evaluation. Give me a shot. Give me a chance. She said, okay, you've got 2 months to prove yourself. And I remember the leadership team I was supporting, they were so against me. Even when we all sat together and the CEO was saying, Gihan is asking to become one of you, and they all, in my face, said, no, she's not worthy yet. She's too young.
When you say she wants to become one of you, would become what?
One of the evaluation specialists.
Oh, I see.
So the job was to design the training sessions for the government officials and evaluate the effectiveness of the training sessions.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do the training modules. I wanted to evaluate the effectiveness, i.e. go afterwards and see how did these government officials apply the training that the US government provided them in their workplace. And that's what I was fighting for. Mind you, I was only 20 at that time. And normally to do that job, you need to at least have a master's degree.
And how old are the other evaluators?
They were between the age of 35 and 40.
Okay, wow.
Oh, yeah, no, so it was a big difference.
Yeah, some of these people are like double your age.
Yeah. But I was bored. I don't do admin. There's no disrespect for admin, by the way. No disrespect. It's just I get bored. I can't do it. So I found my corner and I said, heads on. And you know what the funny thing is? These individuals who are against me are the ones who were with me in university, older than I am, and who know me so well from our circuits of friends. So we all have mutual friends. So literally that day, while I was fighting my position with them, at nighttime we were dancing in the dance floor. How tough was that? I wouldn't do it now. Now I would just slap them and say, forget you, you were against me. At that time, I didn't care. So I found my corner, I got it. And guess what? I became the senior person in less than a year. I was the one who constantly was chosen to go to Washington and report back to HQ on the effectiveness of the training sessions. Not them, moi. Because I am very, very good at building rapport and building trust from a client. The Egyptians loved me.
How do you do it? How do you build rapport? If someone listening wants to learn from someone who's very good at it, what's the ways to build rapport?
Ask questions. Ask questions. Don't judge. Lean in. Don't lean back. I'm not talking physically. By leaning in, I mean truly be curious about people and the person in front of you. And if they are saying something you disagree, don't disagree with them. Ask them questions about why they think that way. And while you're doing that, then insert what you think. And ask them, well, I think this thing. I think this way. Don't you think there is an element of truth here? And this is how I build rapport. I'm a very good listener. I might not hear everything. There's a difference between listening and hearing, but I'm a very good listener. I let the person in front of me talk. And as humans, we like to feel important. We like to feel that we're heard and appreciated. And it's very rare you find someone who's willing to not gloat about who they are and just make you shine instead. And that's what I was good with the Egyptians for. I just made them the heroes of the story. And this is why whenever they went to the US to do any training sessions, they've always said, can Gihan come with us? Even though, however, true story, every time I do travel, I was always the last one coming out of that airport because I was always being held by the Americans in an interrogating room for an hour or two because I was Sudanese.
Wow. Every time. And you know what was so funny one time? Again, this is true story. After one of the visits, there was the officer who just hit me question after question and made me feel like a true terrorist.
after I proved that I'm not a terrorist and I have all my documentation, he had the cheek of giving me his number and asking to take me out for a date.
What?
True story.
Wow.
Did you give him your number?
Of course not. Of course not. I said to him, are you mad? Yeah, F you. No. So, yeah. But he was just, I just looked at him and said, are you serious? No, just let me get this. Are you serious?
Wow.
But it was funny. The thing about me, first of all, you rarely see me not smiling. And all of my team and family will tell you this. And you rarely see me down for long. Don't get me wrong, I cry a lot. I make it a point to cry because I know for a fact after I cry it out, I'll be fine. I just need that thing to go out of my system. So if anyone treats me badly or says something that really hurts me, I cry it and then I'm fine. I move on. And that's always been the way I operate in life.
I think what we can take from that is how it can be so important to ask further questions, to get more data, to build further rapport and to get a better perspective. And also the drive and tenacity it takes when you see a role that you want, you go for it and you excel at it too.
Thank you.
So we're then looking at around 2010, you moved to the UK.
I did. Gosh, I forgot about that. You're a good listener, Ashley. Okay.
And from here, around 2012, you become the change comms manager for Marks and Spencer's.
I did. Oh gosh, I forgot about that as well. I did, yes.
So then looking at your CV and your jobs, this seems to be the first one that starts you on the path of change and ultimately sustainability. So tell us a bit more about this role and what was happening at the time.
It was a period of exploration between 2010 to 2015. It was me trying to explore what I really want from life, and not life. No, I take that back. What I really want from a career. Because you've mentioned earlier, I'm a nomad. I have this problem in life. I don't belong to a certain group. And this is, I think, because I move a lot. Whether it's because my family moved a lot or whether now I'm married to someone who moves me a lot, I don't know. But what I know for a fact is that I will never belong to a certain group. So even now, even though I am black, you will find that the UK black community will treat me differently because I'm not born in the UK. I'm not raised in the UK. The cultures are different. So the treatment will be a little bit different. If I go back to the Middle East, I'm an Arab, but I'm black. And we are not that fond of black people in the Middle East. So again, I don't belong. I'm not treated equally. If I go to Cairo, for example, the Egyptians love Sudanese, love us, because we used to be one country. But at the same time, they will never date us. They will never marry us. They will never be best friends with us. So this was always my dilemma. I didn't know where I belong. And this it's always been a craving of my, a mission that I needed to belong somewhere. But I couldn't. So instead, I said, you know what? I'm going to flip it. Since I don't belong and no one wants to take me in fully, I'm going to be curious. I'm just going and utilize my curiosity instead, utilize what my life experience and advance myself. So when I studied marketing, I realized, okay, I love marketing. I'm bloody good at it. But at the same time, I want to belong. I want to see the results of my work. I want to touch the humans that I'm impacting. Marketing doesn't allow you to do that. So I said, okay, how about I try advertising? Hated every minute of it. Then I said, okay, I need the human interaction. I need I need to be somewhere. So this is where I discovered the science, the new discipline at that time, 2010, which is internal communications. At that time, no one cared about internal comms or employee comms. It wasn't at the forefront of your budget allocation as a communication department. And it was also, but it was the one discipline that I truly could see the fruits of my labor, because it's impacting the employees I'm working with, who I am seeing in front of me, and I'm touching and asking them, has my work impacted you in any way possible? So this is where I discovered that. But then came the opportunity to integrate internal comms with change comms. But I wanted to test that theory. I wanted to see, how does this really relate? How do they interact and go hand in hand? And this is where the opportunity came with Barclays and HSBC. Normally, clients would call me when they have a problem and they want to solve it. Whether with Barclays, it was the LIBOR scandal, and they wanted someone to come and change the mindset of the employees from thinking, oh, it's internal audit who should protect us as a bank, to thinking, oh, actually, no, it's all of our job as employees. It's my job as an employee to protect the bank as well, not just internal audit. So this is where I experimented with the change management and internal comms and perfected it within the coming 5 years until I went to Saudi after that.
We then move forwards to 2015, where you set sail once again to the land of Saudi.
Yes.
This was a really interesting position here. So tell us a bit more about this role and what was happening at the time.
Saudi was very interesting. Why? Because I was accompanying my husband for 3 years. And it was the second time we actually go back to Saudi. So my honeymoon was actually in Saudi. And I loved every minute of it at that time, from 2007 to 2009. But this felt different. This, I was more mature. I had international companies behind my back. But I knew it's going to be different because I will be really focusing on my career for a change, as opposed to at the beginning, in the first posting, I was a spouse. I was focusing on just making the marriage work. It's a man I've never lived with before, so we needed to make it happen and work. So I was very fortunate that in the first week when I arrived, I was networking in an event. And I was speaking to someone, and he said, well, I work for the Riyadh Metro Project. It's the biggest infrastructure project in the world. And we're looking for someone to bring in all of the 29 companies who are building the project under one communication roof. We have a problem, which is we have 29 companies building the project, and we have 30,000 employees who are all men. 60% of them, they don't read or write. And we're losing them as workers because obviously we're doing something wrong to engage them and help them to stay longer. And the other problem we're facing is that all 29 of the companies are global companies, such as Siemens, such as Samsung, such as Alstom, for example. These are huge companies. Each one of them are communicating what they're doing in such a different way that it's causing confusion with the global media. And we need to solve that. We need someone to come and build that central department. Can you do it? I said, oh, okay. But I thought women are not allowed to work in the construction sector. Yes. They're not allowed. So you need to just do it behind the scenes until we find a way to make it happen. I said, what does that mean? He said, basically, if there is media in the construction sites, you are nowhere to be seen. You disappear. If you want to go into the sites, you will have to wear your burqa. etc., etc. And I was like, ooh, I love that. Sign me up. And he genuinely was shocked. He was like, what? I'm sorry, what? I said, no, sign me up. I'll make it happen. As long as it's legal, because I cannot afford to not be illegal working. He said, no, everything will be legal. I said, okay.
Why did you love that?
Because it's a challenge. Who on earth will have a similar story like I'm just telling you? It's a challenge. It's an absolute challenge because I wanted to make a difference. Because I knew for a fact that if I prove that and if I succeed, I will be opening the door to other women to be entering the construction sector. And I wanted that. I wanted that for my own growth, but also to show my child that anything is possible. If you just persevere, work hard, and don't judge. I could have easily that night swore, cursed, and just said all the wrong things about the Saudi government. But I didn't. I respected their decisions. I respected their culture. I respected everything about them. Until this day, my closest friends are Saudi women. So I respected everything about them. And it's not, who am I to judge that culture? My culture is at fault as well. We have so many holes in our cultures. So anyway, so I took on the challenge. And it was interesting because I was, again, and guess what happened? When I first came in, I was on the third tier of the organization because it's a central project. So there's tiers. There's the board, there's the leadership team, and then there's the middle managers. I was as part of the middle managers. In a month and a half, I went to the CEO and said, I want to be in that table. And he was like, why? I said, I did exactly what I did with the USAID. Exactly what I did. But the only difference is that this time I came with data. I was more mature now. I can speak the language of the CEOs. I can understand what their comeback and arguments are going to be. So I came back with the data. I came back with the potential and the power and the buy-in I will be getting if I'm on that board. And he agreed it, even though everyone else disagreed with me.
So if I'm listening to this and I'm like, what do the CEO, if I want to do the same in my company or one day and speak to someone in the CEO role and explain why I should be at the top table or in a different position, what kind of data, what's the language, how do you prepare for that?
Well, it depends. It depends what you're trying to achieve. For me, I wanted to achieve a complete buy-in from the board because without the problem with that board, it was a very challenging board. So the board, the way the power that was held by the board was equal, meaning if there was a decision to be made, if I don't get the buy-in from all 9 members, my initiative will not go through, even though the CEO will be supporting it. How do I achieve that if I'm not part of that? I need to get their buy-in. I need to get to the mind of Samsung. My biggest challenge was Samsung, for example. He was just not understanding the importance of comms. The man, bless him, he just did not know what to do with me at all. But he understood the problem will be if we don't communicate effectively, because our reputation at that time in the global market was plummeting.
Whose reputation?
The project.
Why?
Because of the misbehaviors, because of the lack of consistency in messaging, because of the treatment, the so-called bad treatment of the workers, everything was just misrepresented, which caused a massive problem for the Saudi government if we didn't tackle it heads on. So I went and basically said to them, if I'm not with you And even if you don't want me as part of the board, at least allow me to be part of your leadership team. Let me be there. Let me be there to listen of what you're trying to achieve so I can then mirror it in a comms way, in the most effective and the strategic way.
And that's what that's what got the CEO around and approved.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I basically talked money. So I gave them what's the implication from a financial point of view. I gave them an implication from a reputational point of view. I gave them the implication from an employee engagement point of view and talent acquisition point of view. So I gave them the data related to that, and I said, make it happen. And I did in a month and a half. But I needed to. Otherwise, I wouldn't have succeeded. Otherwise, now the head of comms won't be a woman.
That's what the case is now.
Yeah.
Publicly facing, everybody knows that.
Yeah.
She's
Saudi as well.
Okay, wow. So she doesn't have to be in an office out the way like you were.
No. The funniest part, oh gosh, I felt so sorry for my male colleagues. I felt so sorry for them because the infrastructure wasn't ready for me. So so for example, the toilets were male toilets. And if I wanted to go to the toilet, I'll have to ask one of my male colleagues to come with me, stand outside while I do my business. How embarrassing is that? I smile every time. And I always give him heads up. Yeah, it's not going to take long, I promise. It's fine. Yeah, watch your TV or something on your phone. I joke. I have to joke about it. I can't, be shy. I mean, this is physiological needs. It's not like I can make it up, And what was super interesting, what was super fun as well, seeing. So again, because I like to make the invisible visible or help the invisible become visible, I knew for me to succeed and to get the right stories out there, I need to bring the employees on board. But how do I do that? They don't speak English, they don't speak Arabic. We had 26 languages. They don't read either. There are 30,000 employees. How do I do that? So I literally, no joke, I used to basically have a whole roster of different locations. I would go in my burqa. We call it ibaya. A burqa is when you cover your face. I didn't need to. I didn't even need to cover my hair at the same time. I just needed to wear a ibaya, which is a black cloth. I used to do that. I used to wear my ibaya. I used to sit in the midst of their restaurants and just watch and just smile and talk. And then I finally found someone who can help me translate and just talk to the workers, treated them like human beings.
And these are construction workers?
These are construction workers. I went to their houses, not houses, the living quarters, spent days with them, went and watched them play football.
What do you think they're thinking
cricket.
When they're seeing you do all this?
They were so happy. Because I'm a woman, bless them, they haven't seen women in a long time. So I would hate to think what's going on in their mind. I don't want to. I'm in denial about that. But at the same time, I can't assume that that's what they're thinking. So it's not fair of me to say that. But it just made them happy because someone from the leadership team spending time with them and listening to their stories.
I love that you just have a longer term vision with these things. It would have been very, if you'd have said to us that when they told you the job description and the uniqueness to it, that you couldn't be seen or heard, or that you would say, no, I'm not doing that. You either let me be there or don't. But you saw an opportunity there to create a new pathway and create new opportunities for people down the line, which you've actually gone and done. There's now a woman in the head of communications there. And I think that's just great vision and forward thinking of what's possible when you don't judge and you say, okay, I'm going to work with the culture here to try and change things in long term. Is amazing.
Yes, it's always been my ways of working. And it's even now with CommUnique, I'm a risk taker. I'm a huge risk taker because I believe that if I don't take risks, I'll regret it. And I don't want to regret anything. And I'm definitely not afraid of failing either. Again, remember when I said I cry it out? I just cry it out. But bring me a new idea. Bring me an idea that someone will not understand. Bring me an initiative that no one will agree on or no one would want to touch. I will take it heads on. And I will make it happen. And this is, I think, why we excel in CommUnique, because sustainability and ESG is a new concept, not in Europe, but in the rest of the world. And it's not understood by everyone. And it's not appreciated by everyone. So think of it. You remember when Web3 came out or blockchain came out? And you know how people were very wary of it and they don't want to touch it or be involved with it. And the naysayers were all against it. This is what's happening now with sustainability. But I also believe that for sustainability to really take place and for us to have an impact on the planet, we need technology. And this is why I'm constantly seeking out new technologies that would help my work be effective. These are the type of things that excites me, because these are the ones that are going to raise these eyebrows. And for me, I love raising eyebrows. And what I truly believe as well is that I am that type of person who no one knows what to do with, if that makes sense. Because I don't fit a box. And this has always been my problem. Remember when I said I started with I'm a nomad, I don't fit with different groups. I also don't fit the career path. How many times have you met a communicator who one job was a communication specialist, and the second job was creating a whole retail sector on behalf of the UK government. You know, on the third job is changing behaviors of employees. Very rare you find communicators or you find anyone up and down and trying different careers. And that hasn't served me well. It hasn't served me well because the narrow-minded individuals wanted to put me in a box. So after I left BP and when the pandemic hit, I wanted to become a full-time employee. But every time I'm being interviewed for a director of comms or head of comms roles, the first question I will be asked, why are you changing careers so many times? And the rejections and the feedback I always get, we don't know what to do with you. Because you're not just internal comms, you're also a marketer, you're a PR professional, you are a public affairs specialist, you're a saleswoman. We don't know what to do with you. We don't know where to place you. And that made me angry. That made me super angry. Because it's narrow-mindedness. If anything, I would take on someone who's so different than I would and find opportunities rather than risks. Look at the opportunities, not the risks. And this is what I've always said to the recruiters. The recruiters hate me, by the way, because they always say we don't know what job to put you forward to. I said, well, that's why I'm not a recruiter then. But again, the same risk I took with the Department for Business and Trade. They wanted someone after the Riyadh Metro Project. They wanted someone to come and create the whole retail sector for them in Saudi. I could have easily said, no, it's not my forte. I don't know anything about closing deals and writing economic treaties and policies. But I said, yeah, I'll do it. And I prepared for the interview. And I gave examples. Hence, I got the job.
There's so much in there. I think one of the key themes that shines through your story from the start is that tenacity. And I think you highlight a really interesting and lesser covered area of people's career trajectories. For people that don't have a linear path within any specific industry, but that keep moving forward into higher and higher roles, pulling in the knowledge that they have gained in these different areas into who they are and what they can do next.
Absolutely. And until today, I can confidently say that I have, actually, no, it's a given. I have worked in 9 sectors. 9 sectors. Who does that? But I had to. Life took me there. And you know what? And that's why if I'm in the financial sector, I can easily explain to them how the construction sector works, how the retail sector operates, and I can link all these sectors to the clients I'm working with. Because I'm not an expert in every sector, but I understand the nuances of every sector, of the 9 sectors I worked in.
I think this is it's high expertise, because it's you're not just niching into one thing and learning everything in a very narrow vein, and there's value in that. But we're not taught often in our education systems to do this, holistic version of learning. It sounds like you've been on naturally through your life, where you look at multiple different angles or multiple different sectors and then start making, connections between them. This is real expertise and requires a high level of intelligence, and that's now your uniqueness and your USP. If somebody sees it, and those that do will benefit from your expertise, right?
I would be able to connect the dots where dots are not even possible. Genuinely. And this is what my husband always loves. We would go to events, and it would be his events, not mine. I'll be the spouse at that time when I'm with him. He would easily say, Gihan, I want to meet this, and this person. Can you please help me make it happen? He will end up not only just meeting these people will come to our house for dinner. That's the talent I acquired and the skill that I perfected. But it doesn't come easy, by the way. It doesn't come because I woke up one day and decided, I'm going to be a networker. No. It requires a lot of training. It requires a lot of failure. And it requires a lot of self-belief, which I, until recently, didn't have any of that. And specifically the self-belief of making things happen. I think the only time I was actually confident about me and myself is when I founded CommUnique.
Why?
Because I made something work that I'm not getting paid for, if that makes sense. I didn't have any external pressures to make it work. My husband gave me 2 years. He said, your deadline is 2 years. So I've always been contributing to the household, and all of a sudden coming to my husband and saying, I'm not really going to contribute this year or next year because I really want to pursue my passion, and that is to create and create a company from nothing. It was a big deal in our household. And my husband, I love him to bits, and he did say, your cutoff is 2 years. And now it's coming 2 years.
No.
So we're still thinking what's going to happen. But I founded CommUnique because I was angry, as I said to you earlier, because I couldn't fit a box. The recruiters struggled with me. So that was number 1. Number 2, I also founded it because I was sick and tired of not being appreciated by anyone or by people. I was always looked at, she's very confident. She's got it all. She doesn't need our help. She doesn't need us checking up on her. She's exuding that, self-sufficiency. And I wanted to say to people, no. What you see with me is not really everything. I am confident, yes. I will lift you up, yes. In no time, I will lift you up. But also, I'm human. I have my down days. And recently it's been more than ever. Probably it's because menopause, but that's another topic. But what was interesting is my self-belief only became better now because of the impact I am seeing on the freelancers who are working with me. Because I can touch it, I can feel it. I can see the fruits of my labor. I can see the help I'm gaining. The fact that one of them came to me one day, without even me knowing what his background story was, and said, Gihan, because you are the only one who gave me the chance to be myself and join you as a freelancer. And even though it's not my background, what you've asked me to do, but the fact you've done this, you actually saved me from killing myself.
Wow.
I was like, what? He said, yes. Before you giving me that opportunity, I was seriously thinking about suicide. Because I've hit rock bottom. Because no one saw anything in me the way you gave me that chance and saw it in me. I collapsed. I literally collapsed. And I said to him, can I call you back? And I just went. I remember this day until like yesterday. I went into my kitchen and I just cried. And I said, you know what? I'm not giving up. I'm going to fight for CommUnique to take place. Even if it means my own welfare, I'm still going to fight for it. Because if I've impacted one person, and I know that I have, and they told me about it, I wonder how many people I actually impacted without even knowing about it.
What is the unique thing that you do with CommUnique? Because this is a big part of it, right? This, who you involve and how you involve them is unique. And what have you learnt from that? I mean, this is a great story from it.
Okay, let me walk you through the business model first.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a very good point. Tell us, what does CommUnique do in a short summary?
Oh, you want the elevator pitch?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's get in the elevator. We're going to floor 20. You've got a little bit of time.
Oh, we're going to floor 20?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, gosh. That's the story of my life by the time I get to floor 20.
All right. Well, let's have it by 7 then, and then we can just chat after.
Oh, absolutely. We'll talk about the weather by the floor 8. What CommUnique does, it helps organizations to start their sustainability journey and to select the right partners to help them do so the right initiatives, but also to communicate these initiatives clearly and concisely and train the employees in understanding what role do they play as an employees in your sustainability journey as an organization. So this is what we do. We communicate, we train, and we help you decide what are your initiatives that would highlight your commitment to people and planet. So that's in a nutshell. The way we do so is every year we will recruit 15 freelancers who are from underdeveloped countries and underrepresented communities. We train, we coach, not on the technical skill set, but in the work ethics and the nuances of how you would conduct yourself when you are in a developed country workplace. So for example, one of our freelancers, she used to smoke while we're in meetings. So my job was to explain to her that maybe it's acceptable, yes, in your culture, but in this culture, we can't do that. So I'm bridging the gap between the invisible, amazing sustainability enthusiasts in the developing countries with the developed markets. Once we coach and mentor them, they can come and then they help me deliver the work for the clients. Once we finish the work and the clients are happy with us, they can actually hire the freelancers after that. So to give you an example, last year we had 15, 8 of them found jobs in the UK.
Wow, amazing.
And that's what we do from a company point of view. My ways of working is very different. My way of working is you come in, you are probably sometimes not even interested in sustainability, but you are very interested in knowing what it is, or trying to figure out, wanting to learn about it. I will bring you in. I will ask you to shadow me. I will ask you to help me write something about the meetings I've attended. Take notes, for example. Take videos of my public presentations. And through that, it's my way of introducing this topic to you in an engaging way, as opposed to just sitting there with you and walking you through what sustainability means. We normally have a 30, a 60, and a 90-day plan. I'll touch base at on the 30th, where we will decide what is your objectives that you want to achieve from CommUnique in the first 30 days, and what do I want from you, because it needs to be a two-way benefit. I can't do this with all 15 at the same time. So we then touch base in these timelines, and then we decide, okay, is sustainability something for you or not? And if it is, you're probably by now ready to come and help me deliver the work for the clients. If it is not your bag, it was lovely to have you on board. Bye-bye. But at the same time, besides that, I am extremely known among my team. Not extremely. I am known amongst my team to be open to new ideas and new initiatives. And I will always give you the power to do it. So one of my team, for example, she wanted to start white papers. And that was her way of perfecting her writing skills. And I said, you know what? That's a brilliant idea. What topics are you interested in? And she said, well, I'm interested in 1, 2, 3, and 4. Great. Go, send me what you want to write about. This is the deadline. Make it happen. She goes, she writes it. We edit it. Boom. Gone. Live with her name on it. I could have, and I paid for the extra page to be built in the website. I could have easily said, actually, no, it's not part of my growth plan. Not interested in that, for example.
So I think in your story, you've spoken a lot about different cultures. You've got to spend time and live and work in different cultures. What message you have to share to people who do spend a lot of time in one particular culture, maybe a Western culture, and how that can shape your perspectives and opinions on other cultures?
First of all, culture, whoever thinks culture is common sense, they are wrong. Because culture is not common sense. And the reason I'm mentioning the word common sense is because I hear it a lot. A lot of people think, oh yeah, I have an Arab friend. I know their culture. No, you do not know anything about their culture, honey, trust me. Because even in the UK, the culture in Birmingham is different than the culture in Wales. It's different than the culture in England. Okay, and there's even more subcultures.
East London's different to West London.
Exactly. The way, and I use culture a lot in the way we deliver our work. So one of my passions is anthropology, and specifically ethnography. And ethnography is the science of culture, of the individual culture. And the way I want to understand, when we do deliver work for clients, one of the key asks that we always get is, how can we integrate sustainability mindset within the organizational culture? I.e., how can we make Ashley and Charles respect the people on planet and help us to recycle? How can we ask them to do that? I always say, ask them about their culture.
Why?
Because sustainability means different to different people. The priority of sustainability differs from one person to another. Right now, as we speak, my country is at war. My whole family, including my mom and my brothers, are refugees. They're stuck, they don't have passports, they have nothing as we speak. So if I go to them right now, and let's say they've joined an organization that's key on sustainability, and I say to them, you need to be sustainable, you need to think about the people on the planet you're living in, they're really going to tell me off. They don't care. They're too busy trying to survive. What's also interesting is that there was a research made by Nielsen, the analytical company, and they found that the word sustainability for the Europeans, it means climate. For the Americans, it means recycling. For the Middle Eastern, it means women's rights.
Interesting.
And empowerment. So culture is key when you're communicating anything related to change, because we don't like change. And for us to embed change, we have to believe it. And this is why we always work with behavioral scientists. We work with anthropologists when it comes to changing the behaviors of employees. And one of the ways that's always been successful, before we even decide what is the behaviors we want to change, we bring employees from different backgrounds and we put them together and different levels within the organizations. And we ask them, so Ashley, you and I are employees. I will ask you, Ashley, when you hear the word Sudanese, what comes into your mind? What's your perception of Sudanese? You will answer me.
Pyramids, because I know they've got a few there, more than Egypt actually.
True.
And with those, that African form in painting, that's what comes to my mind when I think of Sudan.
When I think of Sudan, I think of generosity. I think of chillness, because we're known in Africa to be the most chilled citizens, or nation. I think of me as very cheerful. We are known to be very cheerful. But do you see the contrast between what you think and what I think about the same culture? And this is what we try to always capture before we decide what are the initiatives and what are the comms that we need to design ahead of changing your mindset. Same again, another example. As human beings, we like to feel that we're in control. We like to feel that we own our own destiny and that no one tells us what to do. So if I come to you right now, Charles, and say to you, are you going to recycle? You're going to tell me, no. Why? Genuinely, if you're not interested, you say to me, no, why? Okay, and I'll say, okay. But then I come to you again and say, Charles, I'm so sorry, but can you please put this small sticker on your car to say, please recycle? Would you be able to do that for me, please? Would you do that, Charles?
I guess if I know you and we've got a relationship, yes. If I don't, then probably not.
You know me.
Okay, then yeah, sure. No problem. Just stick the sticker on. Don't have to do anything. Great, yeah.
Okay. If I come later on and say, Charles, let's say another month, and say, Charles, can you please help me clean a beach? Would you feel compelled, now that you have that sticker in your car that is encouraging recycling, to come with me to the beach?
Well, yeah, because people keep asking me why I've got this sticker, so I have to explain something, and then they ask what do I do about it, and I don't have anything to say, so I guess I better come to the beach.
But do you see what I've just done? I started small. And then I went big. And this is what change management is all about. You start small. You do it in phases. You don't just say to Charles, go to the beach. And this, because I empowered you to put that sticker, you felt compelled to go with what you've committed to.
Now feel like I represent it and part of it.
So the other example I always say to our clients when they come to us, they always say, yeah, we need to change. No, I say to them, they ask me about sustainability, and I say, okay. And if they're against what I'm suggesting, the question I always say to the CEOs is, are you actually better off now than you were 4 years ago? And because I'm asking that question, I'm forcing them to think, where were they 4 years ago? Where are they now? And why they need to change. So this is why, and that's actually a trick I learned from a book I read ages ago. I think, by ages ago, like 2 months ago. But it's something I've immediately, it rang a bell, and I said, you know what, I'm going to do it. And now I do it every time I'm meeting a CEO or a leadership team. Because if they are to change, they need to compare where they were or where they are now and where they want to be.
I guess you get to see this group, this company, these people, what is their capacity for change? What has happened in the past? What is the rate of change, if anything? And then you know what you're working with.
And this is where cultural comes in. And this is where behavioral science comes in. And this is where my experience of living in so many countries and working in diverse companies has helped me. And it also cemented my absolute conviction that don't judge. Who are you to judge?
So if you could bring the most important people within your sector around the table, what do you think the most important topic to discuss should be?
They should be discussing how they can unite together as business leaders in putting pressure on their government in helping the economy move forward. Whether it's through sustainability regulations, whether it's through human rights, whether it's through economical treaties. But I think business leaders are more powerful together than individuals. And if they sit together, if I want to urge them to solve a problem, it will be how to put in place the right regulations that would help their countries nourish and flourish. Because if the countries flourish, the societies are nourishing. And if societies are nourishing, then the economy is going to grow.
Well, that is the story of how you became founder and CEO of CommUnique. And we'll do a little summary now of what we think the big lessons are from your story. And we have a poem coming.
Oh, okay.
Another one. So I think one that's been written while we go.
No.
Yeah. Another one.
Okay, now I'm interested. Okay, tell me more. I'm looking forward to that poem.
Well, Ashley finally prepares. I think one of the biggest lessons people can learn from your story is that you don't have to just deal with the situation you're put in, your circumstances that you're put in, and that you can be the change in your life by the actions that you take. You've several times been in a position where you're like, from even being a 20-year-old intern going, okay, I'm in this position, but I don't want to be, and I don't think I should be, and I think I can add more value. Let me do something about it. And something brave. 20-year-old speaking to the CEO saying, look, this is how I think where I should be, with those 35, 40-year-olds double my age, is a really brave thing to do. But, everybody has that within them. They can find that confidence, and hear people like you who've done that inspires that. I think that's really powerful. And you continue to do that through your life and just gone, okay, do you know what? I'm going to start a business because I feel like that's what more value I can bring to this world, and I'm going to take that risk. And I'm speaking to employers and recruitment, and they're like, well, you're not this, you're not that. You've done too many things. which really is like, you're just too good. So I'm going to make a change. I'm going to do something about it. And I think that is extremely valuable. And I think people can be really inspired by that, and to really take charge of their life and go, okay, if something's not working for me now, what can I do to fix the situation? Not point fingers, not ask somebody else to help change it, but take action myself, and make a change.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. For me, I just don't appreciate it when someone points fingers. I will never appreciate it. And I will never understand it. And I will never condone it either, because you are the master of your own life. You control what happens to you, no one else. So face on, pivot, as they call it. Pivot, change, keep on trying and pivoting every time. You have nothing to lose other than yourself and your passion.
Absolutely. Great.
If you have one.
If not, find it.
If not, find it. Exactly. And by the way, a lot of people don't, genuinely, I know a lot of people who don't have a passion. But it's fine. You still accept them. You don't alienate them. You need them in your life, because they will remind you what life you're leading versus what they're leading. And that was a way for me as well to appreciate all the blood, sweat, and tears that I put in place to get to where my passion is. And just for the listeners as well, I only found my passion literally 3 years ago.
Wow.
That tells you something. So if you are young, if you're old, and you don't know what's going to wake you up in the morning, don't worry. You'll find it. You just need to try different things, learn from different mistakes, and the passion will come. I wouldn't have known that my passion is to help the invisible become visible. I would not have a clue until I founded CommUnique.
And you took a risk to do that, a big risk. It's always a risk starting a business. Do something completely different. So
it's a risk, yes, that's causing me not to sleep. Yes, absolutely. Yes.
But you found your passion, and that's invaluable.
Yes.
And with that, I will share my closing poem. Family and eating together, remembering the joyous memories, learning from the world of business by shadowing her dad, leading to success inevitably. Taking an undesired position could be the perfect stepping stone to showcasing your true tenacity, taking the mantle of new positions and making them your own, helping the invisible become visible, an ethos driven by passion, to being invested into making real difference, not just lip service or following fashion. Bring people with you. Great things can be achieved when you do them together and not alone. So let's raise some eyebrows and ask more questions, and who knows where you could next call home.
Oh my God. Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me. Oh gosh. No one has ever summarized my life that way. I tell you that. I have to translate it in Arabic though, and then I'll send it to Mama.
Yeah.
I should love that. Oh, thank you. That moved me. Thank you. Thank you.